Good morning. Welcome back to Tropical Chatter, your go-to source for online information regarding this hurricane season. Let's jump right into it as we had Major Hurricane Maria just make landfall this morning in Puerto Rico's southeast coast. It is traversing the entire island of Puerto Rico right now. Last night it was a Category 5. It rapidly was deepening. It went through an eye wall replacement cycle that dropped it down to a Category 4. It was only 1 mile per hour short of a Category 5, however. This was an extremely dangerous storm that is going to cause catastrophic damage, that already caused catastrophic damage in Puerto Rico and the surrounding little islands. As you can see, overnight, Maria lost its core as it interacted with Puerto Rico's mountains, but boy, did it bring a devastating blow. You can watch the eye. The eye is about to emerge off the north coast of Puerto Rico as we speak. This storm is still packing one hell of a punch, even though it has lost its core a bit. As you can see, the eye makes landfall right around here. I'll get rid of that red dot when this refreshes, and you can see it come on shore, just crush the entire island of Puerto Rico. The photos coming out of there are just sickening. They're going to get worse. Loss of life seems to be inevitable. You guys are going to be out of power for weeks, if not months. Hearing reports that the entire island is out of power. All weather stations, minus one that's right down here, has went off air. The Puerto Rican radar is now off air. It took the full brunt of this major hurricane, Category 4, borderline Category 5 storm. And it's just going to be a mess for weeks, if not months, in Puerto Rico. So we're going to move on. I want to show you the radar as it came on the shore. This is an amazing radar image. This is from right before it went off air. You can clearly see the dual eye walls. And watch it just spin out of control. The inner eye wall begins to collapse as the outer takes over. So watch the start of this. You can see two eye walls. One, and then the much bigger one outside of it, too. As it closes in on Puerto Rico, it was going through a replacement cycle. The inner eye wall became elongated and just started spinning wildly. Look at it go out of control right there, just spinning like a top out of control as the outer eye wall takes over. This expands the wind field and weakens the storm slightly. That's why we went from a Category 5 to a Category 4, albeit a high-end Category 4. That center collapsed and was spinning wildly. It's an amazing radar image. Right about after this last frame here, the radar went off air as they were taking the brunt of this hurricane. Well over 130, 140, 150, 60 mile-an-hour gust. Sustained winds well over 100 miles an hour in this outer eye wall. And before the inner eye wall collapsed, we were talking, sustained winds of 160, 165 miles an hour. By no means did that inner eye wall collapsing mean that the storm is weak. It just slightly weakened, but the wind field expanded out wider. More of the area of Puerto Rico took a huge blow from strong Category 4 winds. Just the devastation there is going to be unimaginable. I hope everybody listened to local officials and seeked sturdy structure. You need to protect yourself from this storm. This storm was not a joke. It is a major storm, likely the strongest storm Puerto Rico has ever seen, at least in modern day. Hugo was very close. This is going to be stronger than Hugo. Damage will be greater than Hugo from this. U.S. Virgin Islands also took a severe blow. As you can see, it got in the outer eye wall, missed the inner eye wall just barely, but that outer eye wall was taken over already. Winds were well over 100 miles an hour there. Storm surge up to 10 to 12 feet along Puerto Rican coast right here. All this is going to be inundated with ocean flooding. Torrential rains. We're talking rains 20, 25, 30 inches in some of these locations when you get in these training bands. Especially, say, this area right here where you're in the outer eye wall as it rotated in. You never got into the eye. You never got out of the eye wall. The eye wall is just rotating right in over you. You're going to get the highest rain totals, just unimaginable amounts of rain and damage from this storm. It's going to be a mess in Puerto Rico. So we're going to switch over to the 48-hour outlook and discussion from the National Hurricane Center. This was issued as 11 a.m. hurricane force winds extended. Look at this, up to 60 miles now. Last night, during my last night's update, it was only 35 miles. So an eye wall replacement cycle almost doubled the hurricane force wind field. Tropical storm force winds extend out 150 miles. As of 11 a.m., the estimated pressure was 930. This storm has filled in. It has weakened now that it's spent, many hours over the mountainous, island of Puerto Rico. Hurricane hunters have not reached the storm yet. My guess is it's up to 940 to 950 millibars now. Still an extremely dangerous system as it's about to emerge off the north coast of Puerto Rico. Don't let that fool you that the pressure has risen. It's going to take a little bit of time to re-strengthen, but it will re-strengthen once it clears Puerto Rico coast. Dominican Republic looked like they're going to miss out on the core of the winds. We talked about this for the past couple of days. It looked like it was going to pass north of Dominican Republic and miss you guys out on the core winds just as Irma did. You're still going to get gusts up to near hurricane force, but we're not talking 140s and 150s for you guys. Storm surge, like I said, in 6 to 9 feet. It will be higher than that in places where it piles up. It's just going to be a mess. Let me pull this down a little bit more so you can see the rainfall totals. Puerto Rico, 12 to 18, 25-inch isolated amounts. Don't be surprised if you see 30s. U.S. and British Virgin Islands, you already took the most of it so far, up to 15 inches. Life-threatening flash floods and mudslides and several tornadoes possible in Puerto Rico. This system, once the winds die down, it's still going to be raining there. You guys are not out of the woods yet. So stay hunkered down, wait another day, wait for your officials to tell you it's safe to come out, and then start to clean up and rebuild because it's going to be a mess there. So we're going to, the National Hurricane Center forecast track as of 11 a.m. It still had 140 mile-an-hour sustained winds. That is likely down to around a 120 mark now is my guess. That'll be updated within about 45 minutes. They had it moving northwest, at 12 miles per hour. So that takes it north of the Dominican Republic coast, north of Haiti. You guys are still going to get a ton of rain, some gusty winds up to hurricane force. Southeast Bahamas, you guys are in hurricane warning. It could a little bit of a wobble west, and you guys could get a direct landfall. It does appear that you're going to miss the core just barely. We're talking less than 50 miles to your northeast. A slight wobble for a half hour, 45 minutes with Maria, and this brings the core directly over you. You need to prepare for a strong Category 3 to 4 hurricane immediately. You guys have about a day to prepare before it's knocking on your doorstep. You're going to have about 12 hours of just insane, nasty conditions. You guys have been through this before, but this is a strong system and is likely to regain some strength in the coming days and hours. So prepare as if you were prepared for every other major hurricane. This is going to take a decent track for you guys where you guys are not going to get in the northeast quadrant. Even if you get in the eye, you're not going to get on the northeast side of the eye wall. But you guys need to prepare for a strong storm. Let's move over to Jose. Jose is key in the eventual track for Maria. You can see the National Hurricane Center has this up between Bermuda and the North Carolina coast. It easily could be on the western side of this cone, and if things work out, it could be on the eastern side of this cone. So we need to keep a keen eye on Hurricane Jose or Tropical Storm Jose, and we're going to switch over to that right now. Here is Jose. It's it looks better than it did a couple days ago. It's still an ugly system. Center of it, it's right about here. It's got a large. That's a bad circle. It's got a large donut eye. Bands wrapping around into the Cape Cod area and Nantucket. Outer cloud field extends down into New Jersey. I am right about here, and we are seeing nothing. It's a little bit breezy. No rain right now. Tides weren't that high last night. We reached just short of moderate flood stage. It brought some beach erosion, stuff like that. It's no problem. We talked about this for days, how this storm was going to be no problem at all. It's heading northeast. It's going to go out and it's going to stall and work its way back. This is very, very important for the track of Hurricane Maria. We're going to switch over to a thing to illustrate that a little bit better here. So this is the cone real quick from the National Hurricane Center as of 11 a.m. Max sustained winds 70 miles per hour. That is tropical storm conditions. Moving northeast at 8 miles per hour. So as you can see, the cone is not even a cone right now. It's a circle. It's going to meander off the northeast and mid-Atlantic coast for the next several days. How quick this dies out is going to determine where Maria goes. There was a couple possibilities that it got kicked out to sea quicker. That is not the case now. This is not going to get kicked out. It's not going to get caught up and brought northeast out to sea. It's going to linger and meander off the coast of Jersey and south of, New England. And right now it's either how far west it gets pushed or how quick it dies out. That is the two questions. Does it get pushed into the coast and die out, or does it sit here and wind itself out? And how quick that happens is key to what happens with Maria. So we're going to switch over to some model guidance right now. This is the 12Z GFS, just came out. We are at 6 hours out right now. So I'll put this into motion. Let me just highlight some of the items on the playing field here. Hurricane Jose up here. Obviously, this is Category 4 Hurricane Maria down here. So if I put this into motion, you can see a couple things happening here. So now we are 24 hours out north of Dominican Republic. Jose has barely moved off the original starting circle. And 48 hours out, Jose is right back to where it started. Look at that. It's right in the circle I drew. Maria has moved on north and west. And as we get farther out in the time, you can see Jose is just absolutely sitting in the exact same spot. After you get north of this area here where the Gulf Stream is, the waters are cold. It's not favorable for maintaining strength at all. Jose will begin to wind down. Just the question is, how quickly does it wind down? So I'm going to put this a couple more frames into motion. We're at 84 hours out right now. When I take it to 5 days, I'm going to stop it a little bit short. You can see how much weaker Jose is now. It's pretty much a remnant low. No tropical storm force winds left in the system at all. So I'm going to get rid of the original starting circle on the Gulf Stream line. And I'll put this a couple more frames. We're going to take it out to day 5, 120 hours. And at 120 hours, Jose was just finally pushed into the Delmarva, New Jersey coastline as nothing but a breezy day, 20 to 30 mile an hour gust at the highest. Nothing to worry about again. But as you can see, Jose is dead and now inland. This leaves Maria here, in between Bermuda and the southeast coast. You have a high pressure to the northeast. You have another one building up over the north central United States. If Jose was not there at all, these high pressures would build over, they would connect, and you would have nowhere for Maria to go. This would obviously force it, north and west towards the United States coastline. Excuse me. Since Jose was in this area, it lowered the pressures, which allows Maria a alley or a pathway more north. How close it gets is impossible to tell right now. Does it come up like this? There's going to be a trough that kicks us out to sea. But how close, or does it make landfall on the United States coastline, is impossible to tell right now. So it could come up something like this and out to sea. It could come up something like this and out. Could, come up a little bit more and out. Right now it's impossible to tell. All these are on the table here. So I would say from the South Carolina, North Carolina border up to New England, is in play for Marie. There's no denying it. It's impossible to tell exactly how all these pieces are going to come together and work this out. There's many players on the playing field. We have to watch it. So I'm going to put this a couple more frames into motion here. And just so you can see the GFS's idea, this is the brand new run, 12Z GFS from September 20th. So you can see Jose is completely gone now. It's starting to feel the influence of the high pressure and is pushing it back west. It gets, the closest it gets to the Carolina coast is on Wednesday of next week, a week from today actually. And when you're talking a week out, things are going to change by hundreds and hundreds of miles. It could be out here tomorrow. It could be over here the next day. But you can see it is awfully close to the Carolina coast in the mid-Atlantic. This is why we need to watch it carefully. There's many options available. There's many outcomes. You're talking only a 100-mile shift west, and a 7-day, GFS run is nothing. It could easily be east of Bermuda also if this, swings in quicker, pushes this out a lot quicker. Jose lasts longer. It's all depending on many different features here that we cannot tell 7 days out. So let's clear this. We'll go to the Canadian model. This is a model I usually don't show, but it illustrates my fears or my concerns rather clearly. So here is the Canadian model. If you started off, you still got Jose right here, got Maria down here. So let's put this into motion here, and you can see very similar for the next couple of days in the GFS and Canadian track. Put this into motion. We are now 48 hours out. Jose is still in the exact same spot. Maria is battering the Southeast Bahamas. Put this into motion. 84 hours out now. Jose is dead. It is a remnant low, a weak low pressure area off the New Jersey coastline. It's being pushed into the coast. That seems to be the theme on many models now, is it just dies out and gets pushed into the coast. So we take this out to 108 hours out. You have nothing left of Jose. High pressure to the northeast. Trough moving in. How quick does it get there is, highly dependent on the track. But what I was talking about is there's many different options. You could take it this way. You could take it up and out, or you could just take it out from here. So let's put this a couple more frames. We'll take it out to 5 days and show you what the Canadian says. So we're now 5 days out. I'll push 1 or 2 more frames and look at that. 138 hours out, Tuesday, so 6 days from now, we have a landfall along the Outer Banks. And we're only talking, excuse me, 100-mile difference in a 6 to 7 day forecast between the Canadian and the GFS. GFS is here, Canadian is here. There's virtually no difference. These models cannot pick up on a 100-mile difference 6 or 7 days out in advance. But the general consensus is to bring this very close to the Outer Banks, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast coastlines. These areas have to watch. You have to be on guard. They have to be alert and monitor their situation. I had the European up. I do not have it up anymore. I'm going to make another update in a couple hours after the European comes out at about 2 o'clock. But I want to show you the ensemble models from this morning's GFS. The 12Z ensembles are not out yet, so I'm going to show you the 06Z ensembles. And here we go. So pretty much what this is they run this model 25, 30 times, whatever the number is, with slightly different inputs. And it gives you slightly different outputs. If you change a couple things here or there, a millibar high pressure, or just many different little items, you get a different outcome. So this gives us a decent idea of the potential outcomes with Maria. So we put this into motion here. You can see how tightly clustered they are, because we know where it is. We know what it's doing right now. We have a great idea of all the surrounding environmental conditions. But as you get 48 hours out, the spread starts to expand some. So all these are different model numbers. As it spreads out more, you can see their pressures, you can see everything like that. But right now we have a good, solid idea it's going to be in this area here. Put this into motion a couple more frames, and it considerably spreads out. So I take it to day 5, right off the bat. You can see, let me get the marker back out. You can see the high pressure right here, ranging from 1020 to 1022 millibars. And now you have the envelope of where Maria will be. Some tuck it back a little bit slower, more west. Some race it a little bit more northeast. So this area is where we are concerned at. Again, it's almost from the Outer Banks, not quite to Bermuda, but this is the goalpost right here. How far west or how far east it's going to be is impossible to tell right now. So I'll put this just a couple more frames in just past 5 days. And you can see there's about 2 to 3 camps in the GFS ensembles right now. You have the camp with an Outer Banks landfall or brushing. You have the camp well, just offshore. That's where the 12Z GFS was, just offshore, about 100 miles or so, 150 miles or so. And then you have a third camp that get pushed out to sea quicker. So there's 3 distinct camps in the 06Z GFS ensembles right now. 2 of them are not good. One would be just a glancing blow with some high tides and rough surf, similar to Jose. So right now, that's the potential locations for Maria. It just did tremendous amounts of damage in Puerto Rico. It's going to track generally north, northwest, and then eventually we will find out, does it head into the coast, does it head just offshore, or does it get kicked out of sea quicker? Right now it is impossible to tell, but you need to keep an eye on this. It's 5, 6, 7 days out, plenty of time, no need to rush to the stores. We don't know where it's going to go. History does say if it gets into the southeast Bahamas, it has about a 33% chance or a 35% chance of impacting the North Carolina coast. When it passed through this box here, the Hebert box, gives it about a 29% chance of impacting the Carolina coast. If it misses this box here and tracks a little bit more northeast, chances significantly go down for an impact along the North Carolina coast. So it's something to watch. Don't want to get too in depth. We're a week out, 6 to 7 days out. Stay tuned. I'll have a video update later after the European model comes out, and we will track this to wherever it goes. Guys, thank you and have a great day. Pray for Puerto Rico.